Welcome to Oddball. I'm Charlotte Wilder. That over there is always Amin Elhassan. Oddball is presented by Draftkings. Stay tuned because you will hear more about Draftkings Pick 6 and all it has to offer throughout the show. Draftkings, the crown is yours.
Hell yeah.
Now, I mean, I'm in studio here in New York City. Mm-hmm. You are in Dallas, ready for Game 3, but there's something we have to get to before we get to finals talk.
That's right. We've got really sad news that came out today. The passing of Jerry West at the age of 86. Jerry West, the man who is the logo of the NBA. His silhouette is the logo of the NBA. He was a champion with the Lakers in 1972. He went to the finals 9 times with the Lakers and was the finals MVP in 69. He's the only person to win finals MVP in a series he lost. The accolades on the court are never ending. 14-time All-Star, 12-time All-NBA. Been on every NBA anniversary team that we've had since we started doing these years and years ago, but also perhaps the greatest exec in the history of this league. 8-time champion as an executive. He was the Lakers general manager that built the Showtime Lakers. And then, probably a decade after the end of that, built what would end up being the Kobe and Shaq Lakers. And, further on in life, he was a consultant for the Warriors and now for the Clippers at the end of his career. And he was instrumental in bringing Kawhi Leonard and Paul George to the Clippers. So, I do this little speech every time one of these people dies. I think I did it for Bill Walton a few weeks ago. And this is a terrible 21-day span where we lost Bill Walton, Chet Walker, and Jerry West, all 3 of them Hall of Famers. But basketball's a very young sport. It's a young sport. Our legends aren't in black and white and sepia tone and who's that? I've never heard of them, or with a ridiculous mustache, kind of like football or hockey or baseball. These guys are living amongst us. They are living history. And so because it's a young sport, we've benefited from having the architects of this great league to be around us and to be influential in so many different ways. Bill Walton as a broadcaster, Jerry West as an executive. But also that means we're going to witness a lot of these guys passing in our lifetimes. And, I think when they announced the 50th team in 96, I remember they got everybody together and 48 out of the 50 guys were there, 47, 48. And there were only 2 or 3 who had their families represent them. I know it was Pistol Pete Maravich was one. And I want to say, another very old timey, player. And now I'm looking at these lists and more of them are, we're losing more and more of them. And so the next time we do one of these celebrations, it's going to be a lot of family members representing people as opposed to them representing themselves. Yeah.
Jerry West, an amazing man. We're thinking of his family and the NBA community during this time. We're going to transition to talking about the NBA Finals. Amin, you're there in Dallas. What's the vibe like?
Well, I mean, yesterday at media availability, the Mavericks were very loose. They seemed to be very cool and confident. At least that's what they projected. Similarly, the Celtics, a lot of questions about Jason Tatum, and particularly about, is he having a good series? Is he not having a good series? But obviously the Kristaps Porzingis injury news. Yeah, I'm right across the street from the arena, actually, Charlotte, but I don't care about that. I want to hear how you're feeling going into Game 3.
Well, I was feeling really good. I was feeling great until I found out about Kristaps Porzingis's torn medial abracadabra tendonitis.
I literally think you could read his Latvian tweets better than you could read that.
Oh, okay, let's try it. Let's see some.
Do we have some?
Production
team have some?
Yeah, show me some Latvian. That's very small on my screen. Paldies viedam kur albiesta un jut igis visas sezonas grauma. Pavisam dries. I plan to play in the NBA Finals. I also speak Latvian. Whatever. No one in the office could say it either. Yeah, shout out. No one in the office could say it either. I mean, look.
Kristaps Porzingis suffered a torn medial retinaculum.
Torn medial retinaculum.
Suffered a torn medial
retinaculum.
Suffered a torn medial retinaculum.
Celtics Kristaps Porzingis suffered a torn medical retina. What?
Like Bimbo got retinal back wrong.
I know.
Or medial.
What?
Yeah, it got medial wrong. Yeah, it's a torn medial retinaculum.
Okay.
Retinaculum.
Yeah, who's laughing now?
Retinaculum.
Get
it right there.
A torn medial retinaculum that could lead to the dislocation of a posterior tibialis tendon.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I actually
saw a tweet where someone was like, they said it out loud in their living room and their furniture started floating because it sounds like abracadabra.
Harry Potter stuff. I get it. I get that reference.
Yeah, right.
I thought that Jeff Stotts, the injury expert, and he said it's basically
just a magic reference.
The tendon. No, it's not. It's specifically Harry Potter. The tendons that are control kind of the ligaments that allow you to point your toe around. So it's very complicated, as is the human body. But however you want to say it, he's now listed as day-to-day, and this is what crazy Joe Mazzulla had to say about it.
It's a serious injury, and so we've taken a decision to play out of his hands because the importance of him. And so he's going to do everything he can to play, and then we're going to leave it up to our medical team.
How do you feel, Charlotte?
So, well, I guess, whenever someone says it's left up to the medical staff, that means it's very bad, I think, because it means that the player wants to play no matter what, and they would put themselves out there with no regard for their human body or their future. And the medical staff are the ones who have to be like, you could severely ruin the rest of your career, I guess, if you keep playing on this. So we'll know how bad it is based on whether they say, okay, you can go try to play. We'll wrap you up, tape you up, and you can, because I, as a Celtics fan, I was deep in the weeds on WebMD, and I saw this video about like how that particular tendon, blah, 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 and you can still move back and forth, north to south, and you can jump. It's the side to side, the pointing stuff, as you were saying. So I don't know. I feel like if you're Kristaps, you're probably like, whatever, sure, maybe I'll be messed up for the rest of my life. I'm just going to go try to win a championship right now. I don't know. Like, when else do you know what I'm saying? Like, is it worth it? I don't know.
Well, the side to side is pretty important, right? Like, that's a lot of basketball defense is moving side to side. Yeah. So, I think that could factor in. Do you think Celtics not having Porzingis affects anything at all?
Yeah, I do. Right. They're 21-4 in the regular season and 9-1 in the playoffs when Kristaps is out. But that wasn't against a Mavericks team that has made it to the finals. Like, I don't think Kristaps Porzingis, I said this before he got hurt, I don't think he is the difference between winning and losing. I do think that this makes it a lot more possible, both mentally and physically, for the Dallas Mavericks to come out there and win Game 3.
Yeah, I think this is the part where we talk about the relative lack of depth beyond those 6 players, because, you think about Luke Cornett, who is the next big after Horford. He's played 8 minutes in the last 5 games. Like, he's not been a factor at all. And so if you're Luka and Kyrie, and we gave all this praise to the Celtics defense about their point of impact defenders being able to recover in time, but also Porzingis and to a lesser extent Horford in the drop are able to buy that time, because Kyrie and Luka are like, I don't know if I want to test this. Test this. Well, here's the deal. Boston's pick and roll defense, when Porzingis isn't on the floor, is 15th out of 16 teams that made the playoffs. So it's legit something that they don't do well when he's not on the floor. And that's pretty much the thing that's helped keep Kyrie and Luka to mortal terrain. So they're already coming out, the Mavericks, knowing with a sense of urgency, knowing they have the home crowd, knowing they need this one. And now you're saying, hey, one of their guys is hurt, specifically the guy that makes you kind of think twice about getting all the way to the rim. We're going to see, I think we're going to see an aggressive Dallas Mavericks team either way, but if there's no Porzingis out there, it ratchets up a notch.
Yeah, I think this is where like Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are going to have to step up I mean, they've been stepping up, like Jalen's been playing super hard defense. So is Jason. I think that I don't think that this is like, oh, he's out. I don't think this is like, if you told me Luka was not playing, I'd be like, all right, well, the game's probably over. Like it's not quite there.
It's not the deal breaker. I get it. Real quick, if he does play, how bad do you think the boos are?
I mean, I was thinking about this because I think that before the Boston games, I would have said, like, they're not going to be that bad. I don't think people care that much in Dallas. But then after the Kyrie boos, I think the fans in Dallas are going to be like, oh, okay, Celtics fans, like, you thought this was bad. Let's, we'll give Kristaps something because he used to play here. But I still don't think it won't be Kyrie levels.
All right. So, Charlotte, let me give you an out here, because if you want to get ahead of the whole, like, the Celtics have had the easiest path to an NBA Finals ever, then this is something that I think can give you a little bit of a boost if the prompter scrolls a little bit, as I was thinking.
No, it's true. It's true. I mean, because like everyone's saying, oh, you face the Heat without Jimmy Butler, the Cavs without Donovan Mitchell, the Pacers without Tyrese. And now it's like, oh, well, yes, but Kristaps was injured, like that's the thing that you can, I don't know. I think no matter what in this playoffs, that's going to be the narrative around the Celtics. But look, if they win a championship, they won a championship. So I'm not too hung up about how or why it happens.
As my buddy Tom Haberstroh says, every single champion in the history of the NBA has an asterisk because something happened to the other team along the way. All right, real quick.
It is so hard. It is so hard to win a championship. So you need some lucky breaks.
What do you think happens in Game 3?
I mean, I sort of want to say I think Boston will do it anyway, but I feel like realistically, if Dallas is Dallas, I'm going to say Dallas. What do you think?
If Boston wins, it's because Tatum has the game that redeems him in the eyes of so many. Yeah. And we'll talk a little bit
we'll get to that later. And we'll get to that in the B block of the show.
All right, I mean, let's not waste any more time.
In equally important news, like we got all the vegetables out of the way. We got to get to the dessert. Episode 3 of Clipped last night aired, so it is time for the official Clipped after show.
Yeah, Whoa, look at that!
The official Clipped after show. Welcome to Watch What Clipped Live. I am Charlotte Cohen. Amin, are you ready to get into this week's drama?
I get it. It's like a certain TV show where they review stuff. Okay, it's cool. Let's do it. I'm excited.
Okay, great. Because this episode focused on the immediate fallout from the infamous recording of Donald Sterling. I mean, let's start. What observations do you have?
Well, this is the first time I actually watched the end credits, and they go by very quickly. But I hit the pause button at just the right time to find out that one of the credits is consultant Doc Rivers, which makes all the sense in the world now, like why certain things are being portrayed certain ways. It's like, hey, Doc, how'd it go down? It went down like this. I was heroic as ever.
I will tell you exactly how it went down. Thank you so much for asking. My main takeaway is like Blake Griffin was clearly not consulted. Like the way he's portrayed, first of all, like besides his actions or his mindset about it, it's like the actor is sort of like a wimpy, wet noodle. Yeah, like Blake Griffin is funny. He's a outgoing guy. Did they talk to him? Did they watch any video of him before making this actor Blake Griffin?
Funny, sarcastic, cutting. I guess not exactly, but think about Neil Patrick Harris's character in How I Met Your Mother. Like that kind of almost like a jerk, right? Yeah. And what we see here, like you said, it's a meek kind of, not to say also really compromised individual in terms of relationship with Sterling. But again, I imagine they asked Doc, hey, what was Blake like? And he thought about the time he bullied Austin Rivers by copying how he dribbles. So I was like, he's like this. Yeah.
He's like this. And they just, they didn't look up any tape.
Charlotte, here's what's funny. When I could watch Blake Griffin, like, that's not how Blake Griffin is. I could watch Jamal Crawford. I'm like, that's not how Jamal Crawford is. Anytime they show Chris Paul, I'm like, sure, why not? I'm here for it. And the best moment of the episode had to have been Chris Paul's breakdown. Yes?
Yes, let's watch it. Look at this.
Yes.
I want to win. I want to
win.
Oh
my God.
I want to win.
Oh, man.
Want to win. Want to win.
The silence here.
I love the silence.
For the audio listeners, he's doing things.
What my ring, yo?
Now, I mean, what's funny about this is that is actually what James Harden's girlfriend said to him after she caught the bouquet at that wedding.
It's also
funny enough. Talk about the Clippers. That's what James Harden said to Steve Ballmer.
There you go. Yes. Is that what Steve Ballmer said to
yeah, sorry,
James
Steve Ballmer cried.
This is what I want to do.
Okay.
Both of us fancy ourselves as thespians. I want to recreate this Timu version of Chris Paul in this scene. Doing that.
She and Chris Paul?
Yes. Charlotte, how about you take us out there first?
Okay, great. All right, let's do it. I want to win. I want to win. I want to fucking win. I want a ring, man. I want a fucking ring, yo. I could probably have cried better, but I was focused on saying the right lines. Can I do it again?
No.
Please?
I'm in character now. Let me do my shit. You can do it again.
Okay, go.
I'm waiting for the curtain call. I want to win. I want to win. I want to fucking win. I want my ring, man. I want my fucking ring, yo. That's acting.
Okay, can I do it again? I want to win. I want to win. I want to fucking win. I want my ring, man. I want my fucking ring, yo.
You sound like you're trying to laugh. You're trying not to laugh. That's the problem.
No, I'm not trying not to laugh. I'm crying.
That's you crying? You boasted about how you're such a great crier on the spot.
But I have mascara on, and we have to do the B block. I mean, come on.
So did Chris Paul on that day, according to
All right,
Clips.
whatever. Coming up, we have the Draftkings Pick 6. Stick around.
Wing, yo.
Welcome back to Oddball. We have teamed up with Draftkings to present you with our Oddball Pick 6 before NBA Final Games. And heads up, because new customers play $5 and get $50 in Pick 6 credits. So what you've got to do is download the Draftkings Pick 6 app and use promo code Oddball when you're signing up. Now, Amin, here's how this is going to work. You and I are going to pick 6 finals players. That'll be our lineup or our pick set. We did this last week. It was great. We'll also pick a stat, and then we have to select more or less for that player. And after 6 choices, we're going to have our oddball pick 6 for Game 3 of the NBA Finals. Are you ready?
I am ready, and I got to admit, last week we didn't do so hot, so we got to do a lot better this week, Charlotte, because...
I want to win. I want to win. I want to win.
Okay. Yeah. We want to win. We want to win. We want to win. We want to ring. Let's get this started. I'm going to start. Pick 1 is going to be Jason Tatum. And I mean, I'm not going points right now. I'm doing rebounds and assists.
You've just abandoned him scoring now.
Well, no. He did such a great job with rebounds and assists last time. Stat projection is 15.5. And last game, he had 16 rebounds and assists. This is the stats combined in Game 1 and 21 rebounds and assists in Game 2. So I'm going to say that he is going to have more than 15.5 rebounds and assists combined in Game 3. And maybe this is a good place to talk about Jason Tatum's shooting.
Yeah. By the way, I'd like to point out that in stat parlance, steals and blocks is shorted to stocks. What do you think rebounds and assists are shorted to?
Resists.
You didn't take the bait. I wanted you to say racists. And that's what this is.
No. Okay. All right. Okay.
You know what? You don't have faith in Jason Tatum, right? I get it. You're a Boston fan. No, you Boston fans.
What are you talking about?
You guys are like, oh my God, is he going to show up to this series? I see the memes. I see everything. Crazy Joe Mazzulla saw the memes too. But I'm going to be here to say my first pick will also be Jason Tatum, but it'll be Jason Tatum points. The stat projection is at 26.5. And so even though you, ye of little faith, or you just avoided, you're like, oh, you know what? I'm going to take rebounds and assists and any other thing you can do.
You're putting words in my mouth. You're putting words in my mouth.
It's called inference. You infer from
All
the
right.
way people behave.
Are you taking more or less points, I mean?
I'm taking more. I'm taking more because I think
Okay.
without Porzingis out there, perhaps he's going to go out there and have himself a ball. How about that? I got faith in you, Jason Tatum, even if Charlotte doesn't.
Here's the thing. I do not have faith in Jason Tatum. I think when Joe Mazzulla was asked for all the wild stuff he said in press conferences, what he did say was when he was asked, is Jason Tatum playing his best right now? He said, yeah, sure. Yes, because I agree with him, Amin, and I'm saying that points are not everything, because when Tatum realized he was not scoring, he was not hitting threes, he completely adjusted and just started feeding Drew Holiday. And that is a skill in and of itself. He was rebounding, he was playing hard, he was making a difference on the floor in a way that people in Boston and the national media, everyone's like, oh, is this the version of Jason Tatum? Like, Jason Tatum is what he is and what he's always going to be, and he's never going to be great. And I'm like, he's pretty great. He did a pretty great job. He had a great game last game. It does the shooting does not correlate to how well he played.
The offense down the stretch was basically him being unguardable and making the Dallas defense collapse. And then he was finding, as you said, Drew Holiday on the baseline and Derek White on the wings and all that. Like, that's all him. When people are watching that and thinking like he's not playing well, it reminds me of in the bubble when people were saying, "Oh, Anthony Davis should be MVP because he's averaging all these points and shooting like 78% of the field." I'm like, why do you think he's averaging all these points and shooting that percentage of the field? It's LeBron is making everything happen. So, all right. What do you got for your third pick?
Now that we set the record straight there, my third pick is going to be Luka Doncic steals. His stat projection is at 1.5, and obviously Luka doesn't play defense is something that people in the NBA world like to say a lot. But he has gotten steals in the finals. He had 2 in Game 1. He had 4 in Game 2. It looks to me, I mean, like he's trying. I think, we talked about this with Anthony Edwards and the Wolves, where it's like he's tired because he's guarding their best players and having to shoulder all of the load.
Right.
But he's trying. He's doing stuff out there.
I think, for sure. He's in a situation where usually Kyrie's there to pick up the slack offensively so that they can trade off. And that allows one or the other of them to kind of take a break. But because of Kyrie's struggles, all that burden is on him. And then the Celtics are targeting him. They're hunting him as they should. And he's also dealing with whatever injuries he's also dealing with. So all those things combined are like, the guy playing in his third grueling series might be a little tired and not so great defensively. Having said that, as you pointed out, he's hit the steals mark in games 1 and 2. So what do you think? More or less?
I'm going to say he's going to have less than 1.5 steals in Game 3. I think his offense, he's going to go off for a bajillion points. I think maybe they'll get a little bit of a reprieve if Kristaps doesn't play. So I'm going to go less,
For the fourth pick, I'm going to take Kyrie Irving points. The stat projection is 23.5. Now, Charlotte, I know what everyone's thinking. Kyrie has played so poorly through the first 2 games. The Celtics defense has figured him out. But I think there are 3 real reasons why he's going to go for more than 23.5 points. Number 1, some good old-fashioned home cooking. Back in a home crowd, got the big feels of everybody around him, whatever. Number 2, I think he knows, hey, man, I haven't held up my end of the bargain, especially as I'm looked at as a leader and a role model and a steadying influence on the rest of this team. I have to step up. Number 3, the Porzingis availability. That's a big deal because if Porzingis isn't out there, like we said, Celtics pick-and-roll defense hasn't been optimal. We saw what the Pacers did to them with Andrew Nembhard and Miles Turner. So I think Kyrie Irving is going to flourish and take advantage of that absence if it indeed plays out that way.
Okay, so you're saying more than 23.5 points. My last one, very simple. Peyton Pritchard threes. His stat projection is 0.5. He's going to have at least 1.
And I'll go Drew Holiday rebounds. His stat projection 6.5. I'll go less than.
That is our 6 picks, which means we have our oddball pick 6 for Game 3 of the NBA Finals. We picked Tatum will have more than 15.5 rebounds and assists in Game 3. Tatum will have more than 26.5 points in Game 3. Luka will have less than 1.5 steals in Game 3. Kyrie will have more than 23.5 points in Game 3. Pritchard will have more than half a 3 in Game 3. And Drew Holiday will have less than 6.5 rebounds in Game 3. And that, my friends, is it for Oddball. We will see you tomorrow.
Bye.